And welcome back to the show. The Children's Village works in partnership with families to help society's most vulnerable children so that they can become educationally proficient, as well as economically productive and socially responsible members of our society. And they believe that there are three keys to a child's success: one is education, two is work, and three, lifelong relationships. Here now and sharing more details, we're pleased to be joined by the director of the Children's Village Institute, Vincent Madera. And Vincent, good to have you.
Ah, a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get right into it. And when we talk about Children's Village, we know that you guys have been doing some great work with children and families down through the years. And as you look into this new year, coming fresh out of the holidays, give us a little bit of the holidays and where you are in the new year with Children's Village.
So we are at CV. We love the holiday season, obviously, just because this is the time where we can offer opportunities for kids just to be kids, right? And families just to be families and not worry about the stress of what got them into foster care in the first place. And so what we do is to make sure that we provide every single opportunity possible for kids to be with their families during the holiday season and just doing what everybody else does in the holidays, opening up gifts, eating, breaking bread, and making sure that just for a split second, it could be hours or a weekend or a day, they really get away from the stress and just enjoy each other as family.
And as they enjoy each other as family, I know that's the bond that you really want to create. That kids can be a part, and families can also have this connection of really bonding together. As you look with the work with Children's Village, give us a little bit about this because, as I said in the intro, part of what you're trying to develop is lifelong relationships.
Absolutely. So what we know is that no matter um, what we offer at Children's Village, right? And I'll speak for Children's Village. We could offer amazing things in terms of, Broadway tickets or a beautiful place to stay in our residential. Um, and there's one thing that we would never be good at, and that's being a child's family. And so what's important is, and what we knew what was important for the success of a child's life is to be connected to family and have those lifelong connections. And that's why we can't be a child's family is because we're not lifelong. We there's right with the way the work is we have an age limit to the services we provide. Family does not. So when we realized that we did everything we can and started putting money where our mouth is to make sure that we start building and fostering opportunities for those bonds to happen with the children's family. And what's beautiful is family is whoever the child deems as family, right? We don't say this is your mother, this is your father. What we say is who are you connected to? And let's foster opportunity for that connection to get stronger and everlasting.
When you talk about foster and families, let me put those two words together because that's also what you do. You have a great foster care program. Share with us a little bit about the program and the success that it's had in really being able to bridge the gap in a young person's life.
Absolutely. So we have our family foster care program where what we are doing now, and we're actually in the middle of the shift, and is extremely exciting, is understanding that there needs to be bridges built between what we don't call them foster families anymore. What we call them is caregivers, because the children already have families. So we bridged what used to be called foster families. We call them caregivers to the family, and it's a team of support for the child, right? That understanding that the child doesn't have to choose between a great relationship they have with their caregiver and their biological family or the family that they were with prior to being in care. What it is no, now you have a team of support. So how can we first drive that message home to both the caregiver and the family, as well as the child see it in tangible ways? May it be making sure that, okay, Monday through Friday, you're with your caregiver, then you could go home on the weekends, and then lead that into what we are, which is our number one goal, reunification with the family, and still have the relationship with the caregiver even after they leave care, which I think is the best of both worlds.
Yeah. For yourself, talk to us about, we talked in the last segment with our legal counsel about what it's like to navigate the system, given the fact you've got Omicron, the Delta variant, COVID. Talk to
Yeah,
us about what it's been like for you guys as far as staff, trying to
yeah.
navigate, and then the relationship of maintaining families and doing the work that you do. How is how has this recent things really been affecting you?
So it is a lot. So what we do know though, and it goes back to what we value, right? What we do know is how did we, though the individuals who work um, with these children and families, how do we get through the stress of COVID and Corona, right? And that is through connections, the connections that we have. So it's the same way our families and kids need to get that we work with need to get through it. More connection, more time together, and in creative ways. So that's really what it was: is how can we be more creative in the ways we do it, while now with COVID keeping everyone safe. So what we did was, if you don't have to come into the office, we reduced the number of people in the office so we don't expose the kids that cannot come home for whatever reason. But the people that are still working with the kids, we're calling families every day. We're FaceTiming families so they could get that face to face. We're validating that it is not the same thing as hugging your mom or dad, right? And saying that this is not, we don't want to continue this. We're going to look at for every way possible that we stop that. And so what we've done was, if the family um, can take the youth for a long period of time, especially if school was remote, why don't we do it at home then? So they don't have to stay in a residential or foster care setting. And so for those specific situations, we send the kid home for a longer stay so they could be with their family. And what do we see? The bond got bigger, right? No incidents happened because they're with family and they used each other to get through the stress of COVID and Corona.
Yeah. I want to have you hear a little bit about what's going on at Dobbs Ferry. I'm familiar with Dobbs Ferry because I used to go up there to play basketball years ago. I'm going to date myself, being up there at Children's Village, playing up there at Dobbs Ferry. But talk to us about the work that's going on up there at Dobbs Ferry.
So I've also played basketball here at Dobbs Ferry. And I just tore my meniscus doing it. So
Really? Oh, man.
yeah.
Wow.
So you just caused a little trauma. Don't worry, we have enough clinicians here to help me through this after this interview. So in Dobbs Ferry, we are still holding on the values of the family bonds, right? But also showing the youth that keeping them engaged as much as possible, right? With this understanding that we're going to do everything we can for you to get home, for you to see your family. Um, and so what we offer is, we have a beautiful recreation site here with Olympic-sized pool. You should come back. If I don't know how long ago you played here since you dated yourself. We got a brand new gym. We just did the floors, and we also try to do as much as we can in inviting families to share in that. With Omarion, with Omaricon, uh, it's been quite difficult. But again, um, we're keeping them engaged just to distract them as much as possible from the stress, but doing everything we can to foster the opportunity for them to get home to see their family, even if it's for an hour, just to
Yeah.
see them.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I'll date myself and say it's been at least 35 years since I've been up there
I,
playing on that court. But I definitely want to look forward to seeing what's going on there. And I know the great work that goes on between yourself and staff, and how you really make the lives of young people so much more better, and the impact that you guys have. So no, thank you so much. Vincent, before we go, you want to let everybody know about some things that you might be having coming up in 2022?
no, again, we're continuing to make sure that our families feel like partners in the work that we do, rather than just a service that's given to them and that they didn't choose. Because that is true. They didn't choose to have our services. However, we want to make sure that they feel like partners in their goals and accomplishing their goals and being unified with their kids. We're just gonna go hard.
Vincent Madera, director of the Children's Village Institute. We want to thank you so much for being with us here on
Appreciate it.
Open. Now, for more information, we encourage you go ahead and visit the website at childrensvillage.org, and then you can also follow them on Twitter at Children's Village. We got more show. Don't go anywhere. Open continues coming up after this.